afternoon. This is the knitting news for the 14th week of 2024 from Knit Happens Teesside. So I wasn't present again at knitting. I've been, ill. And unfortunately, I missed Andi's last regular visit because she's moving to Fife. But there's quite a wool scene in Fife. So there may be plans afoot for going up there. Helen suggested it, but why not? So gladly, my personal assistant, Helen, has relayed the information from Thursday night about what people are knitting, so I'm not stuck for things to tell you about. Andi was working on her hats. Helen was working on her blanket. Jill was ill. I was ill. I've been working on my shawl. Fee has been, well, she's still in France, but she can communicate with us now. So she did send a little while ago some pictures of yarns she'd put together to make a shawl with. And a picture of a little tension square that she'd done, well, a long tension piece that she'd done. And I think they were mainly green again, because she does like green, but there's nothing wrong with green, is there? Because I like green too. So Helen had made Andi a yarn ball. Helen recounted her adventures from Istanbul, but I'm going to need her to do that again because I want to hear about it. And then somehow they got onto the perfect dinner date. And there was people like, let me have a look, David Attenborough, Brian Cox, Bill Bailey, yes, for Bill Bailey for me. And probably Ade Edmondson too. Marie Curie, if she was there, she'd need a Geiger counter. And Jane Austen would be less of an issue. And apparently Graham Norton would be on drinks. But, yeah. This was the way the conversation went, but I wasn't there. So what we had done is, when one of our friends was de-stashing, and I'd been taking the wool in, and the books, and other bits and bobs, and we'd all been taking bits, and because Andi knew she was moving, she said, oh no, better not, no, I shouldn't, it'd be foolish, no, it'd be silly, because then I'd just have more stuff to move. Being like far too sensible about it. So there was some yarn that we all agreed was absolutely perfect for Andi and just her cup of tea completely. So we put that away for her, and now she's got it because it was her last night. So she does like it. She's pleased, but we knew she would. I think, was it a West Yorkshire Spinners, kind of like a tweedy, but it was her colours. It was, you know, like the turquoises. But we knew it was perfect for her. So she's going to have some of those wee county yarns, which are, I don't know if they're up, I'm not quite sure where they're based, but they do these little mini balls. I think I've got some somewhere, hang on. So this is one. It's wee county yarns, and it's pure wool 4-ply. Approximately 10 grams. So it's a really good idea for, so you can see the scale. It's only little. Fair Isle, colour work. So for 10 grams there's about 56 metres on it, which is quite good, isn't it? And they have a whole range of colours. that are beautifully presented at shows. And actually, I know I've got a picture somewhere of their stall, so if I can find it, I'll put that on for you too. So what Helen had said was she was going to fill Andi's yarn ball with a selection of colours, so she's chosen her colours. And that's her little leaving present. But we're bound to see her again. So there'll be me and Helen and Jill, with Fee in France and Andi in Fife. But I'm sure, being a chatterbox, I'll find something to talk about. Black coffee, again. I have started my murder knit shawl. I went on a little trip. More about that later, maybe. It's not really about knitting at all. But I did knit on the train. And on the way back, I sat with two nice ladies. And instead of not speaking at all, we had a bit of a chat about things. And then one of them asked me what I was knitting. And it turned out that they could knit. They just only really did knitting when their children were young. So they don't knit now. And they thought my yarn very fine, which I suppose it is if you don't do a lot of knitting. But it's only 4-ply. So, yeah, I'll put a picture of that on. I had to do some knitting like that because my obscenely enormous shawl, ugly cat shawl, is not really that portable. Well, actually it is, but I was busy all day, the day after I stayed over, and everything that I took with me, I had to carry around with me. So, therefore, I was travelling light. Very light. I'm quite good at that. In fact, the heaviest thing was my camera. And some water. So where I stayed, I went to Edinburgh and I stayed for one night. And it just so happened that when I walked to my hotel, about 50 metres down the road, yards or whatever you like, there was a wool shop. It wasn't actually open while I was in the vicinity, but I don't think it was too much to worry about because it was mainly acrylic in the window, so there was some sock yarn, but I have sock yarn. I didn't have no need for any more, so I didn't actually go in. And I got there quite late, and I did need something to eat, but I didn't stop on my way because I needed to get in, make sure I got in my room okay. It was just like a lockbox with a sequence of numbers outside the door, and I had to fathom out that. I got room number 13, but everything was more or less all right. And then I went back out to try and find somewhere to have something to eat. And about 50 more metres or yards, so 100 metres down the road, there was the Tuk Tuk Indian street food restaurant. And I had 15 minutes to place my order. But I had a lovely king prawn dish with ginger, lemongrass, curry, coconut and some naan bread. And it was absolutely delicious. So I think I did actually hit upon one of the better eateries in Edinburgh. Especially around that area. It was a bit scruffy in places. But you know. Anyway, what I am wearing. This is discontinued yarn from Rowan, which I bought on eBay because I just like the look of it. So it's kind of a metallic tape and it's called Rowan Frost. And this is kind of just like a broken rib pattern, and it's kind of funny. So it's got that metallic sheen, but when I made it at first it was very hairy. It's a bit hairy now. People were finding black hairs on in the dinners and things because of me washing up. But nobody's got black hair, so it must have been more hair that was on the plates, which is maybe not quite as bad as someone's hair. Anyway, these things happen, don't they? I like it, but it's a bit... You have to reshape it when it's damp because all the mohair sort of knits together. And you have to like give it a bit of a... Can you... It sort of creaks. That's better. Right then. What you've all been waiting for. Another tantalising look at my shawl that's not growing anywhere near fast enough. I'm not quite sure. Can I work out how many sections, how many pieces, wedges I need to knit? So I've got a bit loud. Da, 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 da. To sing a song, don't you? It's not quite a semicircle, but that's the middle. There. Oops. So I am the equivalent of about here. So I've got that much to go, which isn't too bad. And I think the next colour is this kind of orangey colour. It's paler than the last one, and then it gets a bit paler, I think. But I do like pink and orange together, so that's why I've done that. Right, I don't have any acquisitions because it's not the sort of thing I do. Only joking. This shawl might need... Now, I've used the dark colour. I've used almost two 100-gram skeins of 4-ply sock yarn, and I've got a full wedge and 2 part wedges to go, and I don't think I've got enough left, and I'm not sure at the moment whether I have to match it. I probably should, which means I'll get another one, or because I could use something very similar. It's got like pinky colours in it, so I might have to get another one, but that's alright, because the rest of it I kind of had. I buy quite a lot on eBay, or I have done, or I went through a phase of doing. If I got a bit bored, I used to just put yarn or mohair or whatever in search, and sometimes just put ending soonest and see what bargains there were to be had. So I think I've told you everything I need to tell you, and I'm quite certain that this coming week I will be going to knitting. I forgot to give you an update on Millie. Millie's had her bloods done. She's quite well. She's doing a lot of eating and a lot of sleeping, which is kind of normal cat behaviour, isn't it? And her walking is better. And she's altogether sort of happier, but she's got a little bit of an issue with her eye. So she had her bloods done, and there were 3 columns on the chart. To be honest, it was an arm and a leg to get her bloods done. I took her in because her eye was funny. It was like red inside her iris. And they said, oh, well, we can do this and we can do that and everything. So I just thought, oh, yeah, we'll just do it. I paid an arm and a leg, really, nearly, for the cat to have her blood test done. And then you pay at the counter afterwards, don't you, before you leave, because you have to pay it all before you leave. And I said, can I have a copy of it then? And she was like, what? I said, well, she says, well, we've only got a black and white printer, it won't do it in colour. I said, yeah, but you know, when you pay a lot of money for something, it'd be nice if you got a copy, wouldn't it? Because I might not be educated to veterinary standards, but if you've paid a lot of money for your pet to have something, you need to ask, don't you? So anyway, she gave me the printout. Hang on, I'll go and get it and show you. So it's only the cat. It's only about the cat, so it's not particularly confidential. But all the results need to be down the centre. And I think for quite an elderly cat, that's not too bad, is it? Most of it is down the centre. There's a couple of things that are a bit... And the vet thinks she's on her last legs. Well, she might be. No. Do you know? When we went before, the vet was lovely, very friendly. Loved the cat, was really interested in how she was only just ill at 18. And then she was smiling. Now, if we'd have had a bad result from her, as she walked back in the room, I would have known. But this next one we saw, talk about miserable. So I thought, well, at least if she comes back in the room with a miserable face on, it doesn't mean there's anything drastically wrong with me cat. So the upshot of that all is, we do what we can, and we keep her as comfortable as possible, and there's nothing definite. Because she's so old, they're not going to do scans and mess about with her. But she is going in on Wednesday to have a blood pressure done, which is kind of like a longer appointment, apparently. And when she had a blood test done, she said, she came out and she said, well, I'm not sure if we've managed to get enough blood out of her tiny veins. But they did. They got enough. So, things that could have been going wrong, like kidneys and things like that with all cats, they, to me, look all right on here. Something's a little bit low. Her MCV, if anybody knows what that's about. You can just Google it and kind of find out quite a lot of information as an absolute novice. You can sort of come up with some idea of what's going on. But they're all in the centre line. There's nothing absolutely alarming on it. So that's about it for the cat. I can tell you if she's got high blood pressure or not next week. And if she does have a high blood pressure, she'll have to have a tablet. And she's already on steroids. She has to have half a steroid every other day. But I'm a little bbit practiced at giving cats tablets, and she's quite good, really. You just got to get it far enough in the mouth that they can't spit it out again. So you just, if you can get in the mouth, you just push it further, push it back so that they can't go and spit it out. But I did have a cat years ago that we used to put a leather jacket on to give tablets because, what with all the claws and the teeth, yeah? Well, they don't normally bite you, do they? And the little Tinker last night, I've been letting her have the room of the house because she's been good. Last night we had scratching and rattling at our bedroom door. I was woken up twice, the first time with the wind, the second time with the cat. So I got up and opened the door and lifted her up and plonked her on the bed. I wasn't very settled then, and every time I opened my eyes, she was sitting there, being nocturnal. I don't know why she wanted to be with us. Anyhow, I think really with her being 18 and not having had a good time of late, she is indulged and honoured and can do whatever she likes. We'll let her get away with it. So more news, maybe next week.